What's up YouTube, Dave was wargames bringing you a test time video for the 6 Samurai True King deck that I did for you guys the other day. So what we're going to do is we're going to do our standard 3 test times going first, 3 test times going second, and kind of show you how this deck operates and kind of works together with the True King engine and the 6 Samurai engine. So without further ado, our opening hand after a decent shuffle of 5 will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually really good. So what we're going to start off with is we're going to activate our terraforming and we're going to activate our Shien smoke signal. Now our terraforming of course will search us out another diagram, and we'll also off of our smoke signal get a Fuma. Ideally if you don't have Fuma in hand, that's what you want. Now what we're going to be doing is we're going to activate our Dragonic diagram, because this is basically the 2-card combat that gets everything going. So you activate your diagram, you're going to pop your Fuma in hand, and your Fuma effect is going to go off. We'll resolve diagram first, and diagram is going to add us a Marraine, the Wind True King. Our Fuma is then going to go off to special summon us out a Kizaru. When Kizaru hits the board, his effect is going to go off to search you out a Fuma. Now obviously we've got extended plays because we do have another diagram, and we do of course have another True King in hand as well. So if we activate our second diagram, use that diagram to pop this Fuma in hand, and that Fuma again is going to go off and do the exact same thing. So we're going to special summon a Kizaru. Kizaru is then going to search us out a Fuma. Now the best thing that diagram has done for us is it's opened us up a second, it's opened us a Mischievous Radiant play. Now that Mischievous Radiant play will go as thus. If we link these guys up straight away and go into a Mischievous Radiant, there we go, put that up there. That's done and dusted. We can then activate Marraine's effect in hand to special summon itself by destroying Bathos and Fuma. Now always make Fuma Chainlink 2, because if it's going to get striked or anything, you're going to get your Bathos effect off. Usually only do that with the Bathos effect because it means you're going to get a True King VFD on board, which is going to be hugely damaging to your opponent. Other than that, so we'll work the chain backwards. Fuma goes off. And again, Fuma could go into Kageki if you want him to, or it could go into a Hatsume. It can't go into a Kizaru, sorry, we've already done that. So it'll be going into a Hatsume. Your Bathos will then go off, and usually you'd want to be bringing out your True King of Agamazoo, the Fire True King right there. So our Hatsume play has now extended it to go into a Herald of Arc Light as well. We've got Maxi in hand to slow our opponent down, but then what we'll do is we'll overlay these guys over here into the VFD, and that's going to be a pain in the ass to deal with already. Then going to use Hatsume's effect, and Hatsume is going to banish 1 Fuma and 1 Kizaru. It could banish 2 Kizarus if you want, or 2 Fumas, entirely up to you. Now you can bring back your Kizaru. Now by bringing back your Kizaru, you can of course search out a fire, which will be Gemba. Now by searching out your Gemba, you can use your normal summon of Gemba, and that will then add back a Fuma back to hand. So that's one of your options there. That's to extend your plays. You can go into a Trishula to rip one from your opponent's hand, or you could go into your Shien. Obviously you would then put this over there instead. Your other option, if you didn't bring back Kizaru to search out your Gemba, would be to bring back the Fuma instead, sync these guys up into a Herald of Arc Light. So it's entirely up to you on how far you want to go forward. To be totally honest, your safest play here would either be the Kizaru play, leaving Kizaru over there, syncing these up into a Shien, because then that way you can negate, and you've added a Fuma back to hand. You then have Hatsume engraved along with a Fuma, 2 Fumas to protect Shien or Kizaru, should it be the only thing to be destroyed. The other option, of course, would be Herald of Arc Light. So if your opponent wants to send loads of stuff to the graveyard, loads of monsters to the graveyard, Herald of Arc Light would be your better option, because not only if your opponent goes Regeki, you can negate it, it also sends all their monsters to graveyard. So if they want to play like Spirals, where they're going to be cycling back certain things or anything like that, you've put them in more trouble. But they still got to get rid of a True King of all calamities as well. So either way, whether you're going with Herald or whether you're going with Shien, you've kind of null and voided the Regeki play. You've got Maxi if you want your opponent to go further into it, but to be totally honest with you, I'd rather do True King of all calamities effect and let my opponent stall out. I've then got a Fuma next turn that can be popped with diagram and go from there. So as you can see, a very stable, strong board going first. Yes, that did require quite a lot. As you can see, the only like non-used card in our hand was Maxi. So it's definitely a 4-card kind of combo, which is why you don't consistently get a board of VFD plus, or True King of All Calamity, sorry, a Shien and a Messias Radiant. But when you do, it is pretty much game from then on. Otherwise, you can consistently either get a Shien, only a Shien, or only a VFD. And in my personal opinion, a VFD is just too powerful not to play or not to have if you have the option to make it. Anyway, let's do our next test hand going first, and it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, that last card. So again, we've got a 2-card combo going, and we've got abilities to extend our plays through all of this as well. So we'll activate the terraforming going into our diagram. We're going to activate our diagram. We're going to activate our United as well, and we're then going to activate our diagram to pop our Fuma. And again, we're going to search out a Moraine. Do the exact same kind of combo here. There's our Moraine. Our Fuma is going to special summon out our Kizaru. Our Kizaru is then going to search us out a Fuma. Straight away, our United is on 1 token. We're then going to activate Moraine's effect in hand. We could use Smoke Signal if we want to get a second Fuma out, but in this kind of play, we have the ability to extend a little bit further. It's entirely up to you on how you'd want to do this. If you activate the Moraine here now, you would be getting rid of your Fuma and you'd be getting rid of your Kizaru. And by doing so, you then have the ability to search out your Gemba and special summon a Hatsume and do the plays that way, as you can see in the Khalid effects video. So what we're going to do, because you can see that in a different video, we're going to try this up a little bit, and we're going to go with Smoke Signal. And Smoke Signal is going to give us our 3rd and final Fuma, sorry. We're then going to activate Moraine's effect, pop in both our Fumas in hand, special summon in our Moraine. Both the Fumas go off, and then so will Moraine on a separate chain. The first Fuma will be going off to special summon us out our second Kizaru, and that Kizaru will then go off on a separate chain. Our second Fuma will get us a Hatsume. Now we're going to get our effect of Moraine and our effect of Kizaru. The first Kizaru will search us out a Gemba, or of course if you want to, you could search out Shien, but you're going to be special summoning Kazan out anyway. Our United is well past 2 tokens, but obviously you can only put 2 on it. Moraine now banishes the top 4 of our opponent's deck and goes from there. Now, in this one, what we can do is we will link some of these up into a Messias Radiant. We're going to end with a pretty strong board. Because what we can then do is we can use Hatsume's effect to banish a Kizaru and a Fuma if we wish. And now we can either bring back a Fuma and go with a Herald of Art light play there. And then we can use Gemba to add 1 back and a Kizaru and go even further. Or you can go into a Kizaru. Kizaru's effect will go off. Now we can't search an Earth, Water or Wind. So your Gemba, because we've already searched it, that's kind of as it is. So your search you won't get off of Kizaru. So it's entirely up to you which one you want to bring back. Let's go with Fuma, as it seems to be the most logical one to go with. We will normal summon our Gemba. Our Gemba will and then add back a Fuma to hand. We can then special summon our Kazan. We can then sync Kazan, Hatsume and Gemba together, and that will get us a Trishula, Dragon of the Ice Barrier, and we're going to be ripping 1 from our opponent's hand. We then can overlay these guys into our VFD, obviously right at the top there. We can use United if we wish as well now. You could use United earlier, it's entirely up to you. So all we've really done, the difference between bringing out the Fuma and bringing out the Kizaru is very minimal. It just leaves you with a bigger beta on board basically, or it gives you the option to go into Herald of Art Light there with the Hatsume, and then you have the ability to kind of give you something else, but the VFD is probably more important. So the stronger play would probably be to get your Kizaru on board, even though you couldn't really search anything in that census. Either way, they're your 2 options. We'd then draw 2, and we've gone into a Hatsume and a Rhoda. Now obviously the Rhoda can then deck fin more for us later, and go from there. So they're your 2 options you can bring back with Hatsume. Anyway, you've left yourself with a VFD on board, going incredibly powerful there. and then you've got plays to use from there. The other option, of course, if you leave Fuma on the board here, is you could upgrade Misius Raiden into or even if you have Kizaru on board, you can upgrade Misius Raiden into a Deco Talker, but with VFD, you really don't need to worry about your cards being destroyed by being destroyed by battle, because VFD will deal with that. And then Diagram next turn, if you bring back the Fuma, just gives you more fodder. Of course, you could bring back Fuma in defense mode, which is an 1800 defender. Your Diagram can then pop a Fuma, search off whatever you want, and then you've got more plays to go from there as well. Your opponent is then obviously going to start their turn with only 5 cards in hand after their draw, because you've banished one through Trisha. If they've used an Ash Blossom at some point as well, you've banished that too. Anyway, now let's do our final test hand going first. Again, like I said, you can consistently get out either a VFD or a Shien, which is very, very cool, because VFD pretty much shuts your opponent down for at least a turn. Right, so our final test hand guy first will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, that is a little bit different. So we're going to activate our United, and we can also activate our Shien Smoke Signal. Now, the best kind of play to go from here is it's more luck based on United. If we go with the Smoke Signal, we go to Kageki, and Kageki can then normal summon himself and then special summon the Fuma, giving us 2 on United. We're then going to activate United's effect. And then draw into 2, and that is the best top deck you could possibly have, and so is that, my lord. Wow. So, what we're going to do here to extend our plays is we're going to activate Maraine's effect to destroy our Bathos and our Fuma. Moraine is then going to hit the board, Fuma's then going to go off to special summon out, and so is Bathos. So Fuma can special summon us out a Kizaru. If we want to. The only downside of Kizaru is it kind of leaves a bit of our board dead, but bringing out Kizaru can then give you the ability to search a Gemba. Our Bathos is going to go off, and because we've got Agamazud in hand, we can only special summon our Moraine. We then have the ability to special summon Agamazud if we want a bit more board presence, and by doing so, what we can do is we can destroy our Gemba and destroy our Moraine, and that gives us Agamazud to the board. Moraine then goes off in graveyard to search us out our water, our Bathos. There we go, there's that. We then obviously, like I said, as you can see, we've got a VFD on board, but we also now have targets in graveyard. Well, if we activate the VFD, we'll then have targets in graveyard for Draco Phoenix, where we've got 1, 2, 3. And send them back. Otherwise, we could just overlay those, go into a VFD, pretty much shut our opponent down for a turn. Kageki is on 1700 because we control another 6 sand monster, and we kind of play around it there. Now, of course, there are other options depending on what you wanted to search for Smoke Signal, but this was the best way to guarantee you a +2 draw off of that. And we went through quite a few of the True Kings, so we also have the abilities there. Anyway, now's the time to get a bit more aggressive. Now's the time to kind of show what the SIP card does to the deck and how destructive the deck can be. So, our first test hand to go in second will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we're going to start off with our Terraforming. Our Terraforming, of course, will search out our Diagram. There we go, there's that there. Straight away we'll activate our Diagram. We'll use Diagram's effect to destroy a Bathos. A Bathos will then special summon out our Moraine. We will search out our Moraine, of course. And our Bathos will special summon out a Moraine in defense position. Now the disappointing part here is we have few 6 sand monsters. So what we'd have to do is activate our United and normal summon our Hatsume, which is a bit of a disappointment here. That does give United a 1 token. Now we're not going to get any more 6 sands to our hands or to board, so now's the best time to use United for that +1 card, Rhoda, which actually helps out massively. So we're going to activate our Rhoda. We're going to search out our Fuma. There we go. This just makes the plays go live. Now we've used Bathos as a second effect, but we haven't used his first effect to special summon him. and we've special summoned Marraine through Bathos' effect, so we can still special summon her as well. But what we're going to do is we're going to activate Bathos' effect. We're going to destroy Fuma. You could save Hatsume. It's entirely up to you on how you want to do this. But me, personally, I think destroying Fuma and destroying Hatsume to get Bathos to board is your better one there. If you did Marraine and did Marraine to destroy Fuma, you then have to neg basically one, because if you kill the Bathos, you're not going to get the special summon effect. If you kill the Agamazoo, all it's going to do is add the Bathos back to hand. So it does give you an option. It's entirely up to you on which play you'd want to go with. Let's go with the Marraine, destroying Fuma and destroying Agamazoo, because then Agamazoo can then add a Bathos back to your hand. In the other scenario, you would lose your Hatsume. But because we can fill the grave of 6 Sams now, because of that draw from United, Hatsume is probably a bit more better live. So we'll go with the Kizaru. Our Kizaru can then search us out our Gemba, wherever Gemba is. There we go. We're going to activate Bathos' effect here to destroy Kizaru and to destroy Gemba. Now, there is a reason we do that. Bathos then hits the board. We'll put him in attack mode because we're going to go for damage. So now that we've done that, our Hatsume is now live. So our Hatsume can banish both of these. It can banish a Fuma and a Gemba to bring Kizaru to her field, but obviously all he can search out is a fire, which we don't have any more left in deck. If you bring back the Fuma, we've got a Herald of Arc Light. If you bring back the Gemba, which is probably your strongest play, going like that, you have a Shien play here. Now again, depending on how far you want to extend here, in the battle phase scenario, you've got 16 there, 3k there, and 21 there. You do have the ability to go into an Enter Blafnir. If you go into an Enter Blafnir, you can banish one of your opponent's monsters, depending on what they've got on board. And the best kind of way is to get rid of this one and your Bathos to overlay them, because then you've got a stronger attack. That's how you boost your attack up. But then it does mean you won't have a Shien. If you think your opponent's got a Mirror Force, then of course you can use these. Otherwise, if you're going for all-out damage, you can go Hatsume and Gemba, go into your Shambara. Your Shambara's got a load of damage going on there. You've got damage there, you've got damage there. Entirely up to you on how you would like to extend this board here. There's so many options. Like I said, you've got a Shien option, you've got a VFD option, you've got a Blafnir option, you've got a Shambara option. So it's entirely open and up to you on how you would like to play that. If you don't feel you can OTK your opponent, or depending on what your opponent's got, this is probably the more aggressive play. And then you've got your VFD, to me personally, will be your more defensive play, because you can go into VFD, do some attacks, and go from there, and then stall your opponent out the next turn. Or you go with Blafnir to banish one if you've got a troublesome monster on board, or you go into Shien if you think your opponent's got loads of back row that you're going to be able to negate. Just gives you so many options. It's so versatile. You know, the options are there for you. There we go. So now let's do our second test hand going second to kind of show you again how versatile this deck can be. So we're going to shuffle it up, and then we're going to draw our opening hand of 6, being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wow, double united. Nice. We're going to activate our Terraforming, and of course we're going to activate our Reinforcement of the Army. The worst thing we've got in our hand is our Kizaru at this moment in time. So our Roller is going to get us Fuma, our Terraforming is going to get us our Dragonic Diagram. We're going to activate our Diagram, we're going to activate both our Uniteds. Going to activate Diagram's effect to pop Fuma in hand, and Fuma, of course, is going to special summon. So we're going to search out our Marraine first. Our Fuma is going to special summon our Kizaru. Both of these have now got 1 token. Our Kizaru is then going to search us out a Fuma, and we're going to activate Marraine's effect to destroy Fuma and destroy the Kizaru on board. Special summoning herself, giving us a Fuma effect, which will give us... Got no more Kizarus left, so it's either going to give us a Gemba or it's going to give us a Hatsume. So you might have been better, actually, to leave the Kizaru on board, destroy this Kizaru in hand to special summon out a Hatsume. These are now on 2, so we've got 4 card plus there. We haven't normal summoned yet either, so we do have the Hatsume in hand to normal summon. Then we can then overlay the Hatsumes if we wanted to go into a MX Zebra Invoker, which gives us a Mischievous Radiant play. The options are there, so what we're going to do, obviously, to start off with, is we're going to +4. Because why not? 1, 2, 3, 4. Interesting. We're going to Regeki, we're going to clear our opponent's monsters, so we're not going to worry about that. We're going to activate another United, because we do have the ability to special summon more. Now we can normal summon the Gemba, giving us 1 more on United, and then we go into a Trishula of the Ice Barrier kind of play. And then we can go into a VFD and a Blafnia, entirely up to you from there. Your other option, of course, is to normal summon the Hatsume. We still have plays in Graveyard as well, because we can use Hatsume's effect. So let's do both. Let's go with normal summon the Hatsume, use 1 Hatsume's effect, that gives us 1 on here. We're going to banish the Kizaru, and we're going to banish a Fuma to special summon back a Fuma. Do we want the Fuma? No, we don't want the Fuma. Let's banish both Fumas to special summon out a Kizaru. No, sorry, done that wrong. I'm just trying to think this one through. So we're going to get the Fuma out, because then what we're going to do is we've got a Mischievous Radiant play here now. So we're going to go into MX Zebra Invoker. That gives us 2 tokens on here, so we've got a +2. We're going to go into the MX Zebra Invoker. We're going to use Invoke as a play. Now, obviously, we've already used both our Kizarus, so we're going to be bringing out a Kizan. We're then going to link up our Kizan and our MX Zebra Invoker and go into a Mischievous Radiant. You could go into a Decode as well if you want to, but we'll abuse Mischievous Radiant for now while we can. We're going to use United's effect to +2. Basically, what we're trying to draw for now is a True King, a fire, ideally not a water, but you never know. That's a shame. That's a real shame. What we can do now is we can sync these guys up, your Fuma and your Kizaru. If we want to be more aggressive, we've got the Shambara play. If we want to be less aggressive and more defensive, we've got the Shien play as well. If either one of these was a fire, it would have been beautiful, because then we could have popped the Gemba. Unfortunately, we don't have the ability, because we've already special summoned Marraine. We don't have the ability to pop that Marraine without a water on board. Your other option is, of course, you could link up Mischievous Radiant and go into a Decode Talker. So it's really dependent on what kind of play you wanted to make here. Being more aggressive, you go with Shambara. They've got no monsters on board at all, because we Regeki'd them. So we've got a 3k going in there. We've got 46 going in there. Sorry, less than that, because it minuses 500, so it'd be 36 going in there, and then we've got 19 going in there. Or you go 25, 3k, so 55, and then 19 in there, so 74. So your Shambara is probably your gameplay there. Depends on if you're worried about their back row or not. So obviously that just shows you the power that it can produce going second. So let's now do, I believe, our next test hand going second, and see if we can OTK our opponent again. Okay, so decent shuffle, and our 6 cards will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh my days! Even with a gateway. I'm going to activate the gateway. There's no if, buts, or maybes about that. I'm going to activate Draco Phoenix. We're going to destroy Fuma, and we're going to destroy Bathos. Fuma's going to go to grave. Moraine's going to go hit the board. Fuma's effect is going to go off to give us a Kizaru. Kizaru is going to search us out our Hatsume, which we haven't normal summoned yet. Our Bathos effect is going to go off, and that is going to give us our Agamazud. Our gateway is now obviously on 1. There we go. We then have obviously a couple of options here. We can Kigeki, and Kigeki can give us Hatsume, or Kigeki can give us a Kizaru. Kizaru will then give us another search, but the only thing that Kizaru can search will be another Hatsume. So we're not really going to plus too much off of that, bar the fact we have a rank 4 play or a Mischievous Radiant play. And on top of that, this will then go up to 3. So ideally we need 1 more 6 sand to hit the board. So our best kind of play would be a Kigeki, Kigeki Special Summon Hatsume, that goes up to 3. We're then going to overlay these guys into an MX Saber Invoker. We're going to use Invoker's effect to detach and give us a Kizan. We're then going to, that's going to go up to 4. These are going to link up into a Misius Radiant. Now, of course, we could use this Kizaru here and go into a Decode Talker. We've got the 4 here, so what we're going to do there is we're going to take the 4 counters off, and we're going to search out our second Kizan. We're going to special summon our Kizan, and now we've got rank 4 plays. Depending on what our opponent's got on board, we can, of course, now overlay these into a very, very powerful True King of All Calamities, or, of course, we can go into a Phantom Fortress Enter Blafnir. These guys here can go into the rank 4, so we've got Tornado Dragon if we're worried about back row, or we wait, we do our damage, we go Misius Radiant, King of All Calamities, Kizaru, and then Kizan. But then, of course, if we do want to do the Baguska play, it will shift everything in defense. So our defensive play would be attack with this for 19, attack with this for 24, attack with this for, I think, 23. Then we've got Calamities going in for 3k. Main phase 2, we overlay these guys into a Tornado Dragon. Obviously, it's a little bit weaker, but it doesn't matter. We can detach, clear off some back row if they've already got it, and then our True King of All Calamities is going to negate our opponent the next turn. And that's just one play. Like, again, it's versatile. But if this all goes through, you've got so much damage on board that you don't really need to worry about it. You can then go into Decode if you're worried about targeting. But like I said, you can go to Tornado Dragon as well. If you did go into the Enter Blafnir effect to banish one of your opponent's monsters, so let's refill the board. If you went into Enter Blafnir instead, use Enter Blafnir's effect to banish one card your opponent controls. Then, of course, you can link these up with your Misius Radiant and go into your Decode Talker. And then you can turn these into a Baguska for another defensive option as well. Anyway, that is it for the test hands. I hope this gives you a couple of ideas of how the deck runs. It does have differing or varying versatile kind of ways it plays, boards it can make. When it goes off, it does go off. It's very, very powerful, very, very strong, and very, very enjoyable. So, I hope this helps. MX Saber, you don't belong in there. I hope this gives you a couple of ideas of how to play the deck, how to use the deck, and kind of go around some combos for you. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Till next time, guys, as always, happy dueling. If you like that video, why not check out our other videos available? We've got more deck profiles, pack openings, and of course duels. And don't forget to click on the most important button of all, that subscribe button, right in the bottom left hand corner.